Welcome to This Oughta Be Good. This is episode 11. I am here co-hosted with Amazon Prime from Journey Through the Crates on WRIR. And we got a special guest, Len Funk, in the house. What's up, Len?
What's up, baby boy? How you doing there?
I'm good.
What's
How are
up,
you?
Mordecai and Amazon Prime? My two favorite people.
Salute. Come on, man.
Salute.
Already starting off with lies.
Yeah, man.
Nah, I'm down here now. I live down here. My people's is down here now. You know, I still got people's up top, but y'all my people's down here, though. You know?
Yeah, man.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome in VA. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, man. When I go up to New York, I can't wait to get back down here, man. It's good for 3 days and outie.
Were you born in New York?
Actually, I was born in Tacoma, Washington. So, you know, my parents, both of them were in the military, both Air Force people. And I happened to be born on a Army hospital, Madigan General Hospital, or General Madigan Hospital in Tacoma. But my mother, very shortly after that, brought me to New York. And that's where I pretty much grew up at. We lived in Jersey for a while. We lived in Manhattan, 140 7th Street and Bradhurst Avenue by Colonial Park. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you tell us about like your early days of like crate digging and like what sparked like your interest in it?
Oh man, where do we begin? Like around 70, 72, 71, you know, I used to listen to my cousins in them. They used to have these, you know, house parties with, you know, with the 45 stacked up on the thing and whatnot. The arm would let the record go down one by one, a little 45. So, you know, they had Bongolia, you know, all kinds of stuff on Scorpio was big that day. You know, everybody had a dance. You know, we had the bump, I think, and some other dances. So I just grew up watching them. Plus, my mother played a lot of Motown. She's a big Motown fan. And then my dad was heavily into the jazz, Miles Davis, you know, the bops and stuff like that. So then I would just like, you know, when I got to junior high school, 125, like, I just saw these people like doing crazy dances. I mean, they were new to me, you know what I mean? Because I grew up on the other side of the Bronx at that time after we moved from Manhattan. And it was just, I was like, what are these guys doing? And they were playing, at that time, I didn't know what it was, but they were playing Just Begun, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they were like breakdancing in the street. And that's pretty much how my first exposure to this thing they call hip hop now, but back in the days it was called b-boying. That's what they call it. Yeah. You know, b-boying. They had the b-boys and the b-girls. You had the graffiti. You had the dress and everything like that. The MC was very minimal. You know, they used to go hip hop. You don't stop. And I remember growing up around that. And then I remember hearing these like, you know, these records, and I was like, what the world is that? You know what I mean? So I was about, 12 or 13 or something like that at the time. And nobody ain't gonna tell you what those things are. You know what I mean? I asked a couple of people, they was like, you know, they give you false titles and whatever. So, you know, eventually I looked at my dad's crates. Well, not crates, but, you know, because he had like a nice stereo system that he got from overseas and whatnot. So I would listen to some of his records, and I heard he had Kool and the Gang in there, Sly Stone. And then my mom bought me an 8-track, and the first thing I asked her for was like the Sly Stone joint, the greatest hits. So she gave me that, and I was rocking that joint back and forth till it popped. You know what I mean?
Is that the one with the gold cover?
Yes. No. The one that says the greatest hits on it. It's got a Sing a Simple Song, Hot Fun in the Summertime.
Oh, I was thinking Cool.
Yeah.
Didn't you tell me? Weren't you the one that told me the Sing a Simple Song has something different about the version on that Greatest Hits on the quadraphonic?
On the quadraphonic, it does. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to pan when you could pretty much get out the guitar. And also, Small Talk on the quadraphonic, it has an extended break on it. A lot of people don't know about it unless you get the quadraphonic. You know,
that's right. I had to pick up the quadraphonic the first time I saw it after I heard you say something about it. Yeah, The
original album, the original pressing is pretty good, the stereo, but when you find that quadraphonic, you would see what I'm talking about. And even on the greatest hits, the quadraphonic, you can make it if you try.
Yeah.
It's a little bit longer. Little break is a little bit longer. The JB's loop.
Yeah.
I don't want to give out the name, but you know what I'm talking about. That joint is a little bit longer.
Yeah. Okay.
So were you going to block parties or jams?
Oh yeah. Oh definitely. Oh definitely. In school, 123, 131, they used to rock these school parties, and have the flyer. The flyer was like handwritten, but somebody xerographed it, I guess, or maybe they were just handwritten. Like somebody had to write like 40, 100, flyers, and they put them out. You get them in school. Somebody say, "Hey, yo, you going to this jam?" Be like $1 before 12. Girls get in free all the time because they wanted more girls and hard legs in there. You know how that goes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We found out. Yeah, we found out. Not to cut you off. We found out talking to Phil.
No, you good.
Talking to Phil Most Chill that he had done some early flyers.
Yeah. Oh, really? He did those flyers from the Bronx?
I don't know if it was the Bronx.
Or he did the flyers from Philly? Because I know he's from Philly, though, right?
He was in New York. Not in New York.
He was in Connecticut, I think.
Yeah, he was in Connecticut.
Oh, Connecticut. Yeah, okay. That's just above us, a little bit up. I think he said he was in Norfolk. Mm-hmm.
Not sure.
Yeah. I think he said he was in Norwalk, Connecticut, which is not too far from us because we used to ride up there and play ball. They had like 15 like full courts up there, something like that. I remember it was like a lot of full courts up there. And you go up there to play some ball, and you had to be good or you got ran off.
Is there anybody that stood out as far as DJs or hip hop crews that you saw at the block parties that you really loved?
Well, yeah. When I grew up, it was I grew up in Rosedale houses, Bronxdale houses rather, off of Rosedale Avenue, and it was Disco King Mario would be the guy. He was the one out there with the big system, and then across the way, Bronx River, you had Bambaataa and you had Flash, and I think Manhattan and Kool Herc was out there too in the Bronx. So, there was a lot. And then you had these little crews, the Crazy 8 crew. You had let me try to think. There was a bunch of dudes out there, man. There was a bunch. Charlie chasing them. I saw them set up one time, and that's when they were plugged into the lamppost, you know what I mean? And rock the party till dark. That's when the party really got going, It was just. And then we had a little crew too. We called ourselves, me and my boy, his name was Maurice, but he called himself Reese D, and I called myself Lenny Len. That's first name, and shorten it like that. So I was Lenny Len, he was Reese D, and we was the the Majestic Technicians. That's what we would call ourselves. Nice. And we used to blacken out our records, man, and put like dots. Like if it was the third cut in, you put 3 dots. That way you knew which cut to play. You know what I mean? So
how did you,
it was stuff like that.
How did you peep game from other people and finally find out what some of these cuts were? Or did you just find out by just listening to everything? So
back then, the record stores wasn't like that where you go in there and listen, except for Downstairs Records. They were like that. Sometimes, somebody knew somebody and they maybe got you a title, or you went to Downstairs Records and Breakbeat Lenny at that time was putting records in there in Downstairs Records, like the Malik, Damn Sam, the Miracle Man, Lafayette Afro Rock Band. He's putting in there, just putting these, and they were like $7.99, $7.89, something like that. They were sealed. I remember they were sealed, but they had cutouts in them. But when you went to Breakbeat Lenny's house, he always sold you 2. You couldn't buy one. So he had even copies of everything. So it was not like, yeah, let me just get one. Nope. You had to buy 2 or you couldn't get none. So I was getting titles that way. And then once in a while, you could peek over the DJ's shoulder. You could see the color of a record, but you couldn't tell what it was. And I would describe it to my homeboy named Angel. He was big. He was a B-boy, man. He was in the Zulu Nation and all like that. So he would give me some titles that way. But he always gave me titles like wasn't the correct title. Like when he told me what Catch a Groove was, I was like, yo, I got to have that joint, man. He told me it was called Catch a Gullet by a band called Grape Juice. So I was going out there looking for this joint called, Catch a Gullet by Grape Juice. And
I can imagine the looks
everybody
you
was
got
looking
at
at
the
it.
store. The looks you
Oh
got at
my
the store.
gosh.
For that, man.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was incredible though, man. But I understood that back then because, DJs from different parts of the Bronx or Manhattan or whatever, they had their own like secret weapon or secret sauce breaks. And everybody couldn't have your stuff, man, because why would you give out your secret sauce to somebody else? You know what I mean? So I get it. And even the crews that we had around the Bronx, like we're talking about small crews, like, you bring out your two little Pioneer turntables and your little Newmark mixer, the up and down joint too, without even crossfader. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you was trying to mix like that, but I had a friend. His name was Ruben Muhammad. He made some damn speakers out of cardboard box. He just put a tweeter in them joints there, but it was effective though.
Man. Man. Well, so you
Um,
mentioned.
go ahead.
I was gonna say Breakbeat Lenny.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's the story with
I,
since you mentioned that? What's the story with Breakbeat Lenny?
oh, me and him became friends. Me, him, and Craig, we became friends. I I knew Craig ever since we was 14 years old, man. In St. Junior High, so we was lifelong friends. Went to art and design together and everything like that because we both could draw. And then I ran into Lenny. I forgot where I ran. Oh, I ran into Lenny in Downstairs Records. Because he would always bring, like I said, he would bring up records by Downstairs Records and a few other places, Rock and Soul and stuff like that, on consignment type of thing. So I got to meet him there, and then he invited me to his house, and I went to his house, and that's when I was like, he had records all in the closet, everywhere, everywhere. I'm telling you, everywhere. And that's when I found out, like, you can't buy one from him. Because back then I was like 15 or whatever. I didn't have a job. You know what I'm saying? $10 was the most you made at the car wash, working a whole 8-hour shift, and you was happy because that got you in the movies, got you on the train, got you popcorn or whatever, and some change left over. But and I think the records Lenny was selling like at that time was like maybe $3 for 45, and he wouldn't charge you tax. So if you bought two of them, that's $6. The albums were like $7.98. He would round it off to like either $7.50 or whatever. So I had to dig up money. I was doing car washing and whatever, and we just became good friends, But one thing Lenny didn't like, though, he didn't like you looking in the crates when his back was turned. He would like, get out of there, always, all the time. Get out of there. What you doing in there? Don't touch that. And then later on, maybe about 5-6 years later, got to the point where I was able to, hip Lenny to some stuff. Danny Dan was coming up through there too, and Breakbeat Lou was coming through there, doing before they started the street beat thing shortly after. But that's how I met Lenny through Downstairs Records.
You guys were pretty tight, weren't you? Like especially like later
Oh,
on. Yeah.
oh yeah. Lenny would come down here to visit me and Craig. We would go out to dinner with our families. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a real nice guy though. But now, we would do some of his runs with him while we were still living in New York. He had the big old town car, big old black town car, because he used to do a car service. And Lenny would be like, take us to Strider Records, Lee Kebabs, and all like that. Put some records in, get some money out, and we would do some digging. That's when the records were good to get. You know what I mean? And he would tell us to go to like places like Princeton Record Exchange back in the days. And Lenny had a secret place that he went out west that he never told us about, though. But he would come back with all kinds of cutouts, bro, all kinds, mint copies of stuff. Just it was crazy.
Yeah, rest in peace to Breakbeat Lenny too.
Rest in peace to Breakbeat Lenny.
You were getting ahead on my next question. I was going to ask where he got his.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
He went out west. I know he went out west, and he would be gone for a few days. Yeah. And he talked about a place that had pallets. I mean, absolute pallets that was stacked on top of each other that you would literally have to climb. And he would stay out there for a few days, but he never told us. But I suspect there's a few places on eBay that I buy records from these guys. One place out in Cincinnati. I can't remember the name of it, but he definitely has a lot of cutouts. Even to this day, he has a lot of cutouts and stuff, sealed stuff, just cutouts. Yeah.
Mm.
Can you tell us about the Keepers of the Funk crew?
Oh, that's a crew that I'm affiliated with down here. It consists of my man, he Monster Don. We got Sean Watt, and we got Dana Ilyas, or we call him Ill Son. So I make a few beats with him, and we do kung fu, and we do break beats, and we, talk some mathematics, some science, and whatnot. So I just call they call me the vinyl later because I guess I'm the OG. I'm the oldest out the crew by a lot. So, and that's all we do. We're just like a little music affiliation, with just four of us. We got a few things on SoundCloud and but I don't handle that part of it. So I couldn't even tell you the links, but I could get the links for you. But because my main thing has always been the vinyl. You know what I mean? That's my true love and passion. The DJing part of it, I did that back in the days. I was okay with it. Well, I wasn't good at it. I probably have been better by now, but I just never kept it up. When I went to the military, there was a big break in between that time where I actually did any music or even bought any music. It's not till I came back home to New York that I realized, you know what? I missed out on a lot of stuff, and so I teamed up with these guys down here though, and it's been a great experience.
What brought you back to Virginia? Was it the military? Did you end up at Fort
My wife's family is from down here, so she used to go to school down here. I think she attended school down here for 2 semesters, and so I met her in the military too. She was in the Air Force as well, and we were in the same wing unit because a wing is just a bunch of flights under a command. So I met her there, and then we lost touch with each other, and then I ran into her again while I was still in New York, and then we kind of linked up again. I was in between women. When I say women, I'm talking about long-term relationships. I should put it that way. So we linked up, and one thing led to another. And we said, she brought me down to Virginia with her, and I was like, shit, I like it down here. You know what I mean? We went to Golden Corral. I thought that was the best thing. I never been to a buffet before in my life. I was like, hey, this is great, man. Gas was 79 cents. We talking about like 90, 95. Yeah, I was like, and she said, hey, you want to move down to Virginia? Because she had a brand new daughter. Wasn't mine, but I raised her anyway from 6 months all the way up to now. So she's my daughter in all sense of the word, So we moved down here, and here I stayed.
Golden Corral. We call that the trough, man. The trough.
I know I don't eat it no more though, but at the time it was something new for me, man. I was like, you pay one price and you can eat till you bust. I was like, I'm in. So that's what brought me down to Virginia.
Who are some of like your biggest influences in like as far as crate digging or vinyl collecting?
Oh man, so like I said, Breakbeat Lenny for one. Then I hooked up with guys at the Roosevelt Hotel. Am I going too fast?
No, were you selling there or?
I wasn't selling at the time at the Roosevelt. I sold later on at the 57th Street show, but once in a while I just bring a crate. Craig was doing most of the major selling, but I'd bring a crate, sit at his table and sell out my stuff, to Buck Wild and Diamond and people like that. But the Roosevelt thing, it was all new for all of us, though. You know what I mean? We all get there early. Some people spent the night there. You heard the story. People spending the night. We go there, and you shop till you drop. And when I say you drop, that means you ran out of money. There was no ATMs and stuff like that back then. You know what I mean? I didn't have a record budget like other people did. So, but I had a friend that if I put him on to something, because by that time my knowledge, we talking about 90, 89, 91 and stuff like that. My knowledge was a little better now, because I found a lot of stuff on my own too by going to like Princeton Record Exchange all his music and stuff like that. You know, Philly, going to Val Shively. I found a lot of little stuff on my own too, and I was hitting people off. And I had a good friend too, my Muslim brother Raheem Ra Boogie, you know, and we lived together. And he worked at Downstairs Records, and he brought a lot of 45s to the game. So, you know, and he put me on a lot of stuff, and I put him on a lot of stuff, and we had two turntables there, and I mean, everybody used to come up there and you know, borrow records. We was like a library, a record library. You know, hey, can I hold that Skull Snaps? You know, they hold it for a while. Can I hold
The
the
Len Funk record exchange.
can I hold? Yeah, yeah. Hey, look, dudes had these records for like we're talking about like several seasons, man, several football seasons, bro. You talking about 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? You know the old saying, if you want your stuff back, you gotta borrow it back, you know. But they was good brothers, they gave it back. And they would always remind you know, I got your stuff. You know, I haven't forgot you. You know, let me get this production out the way, you know, and you know, we'll get it back to you. So it was pretty much like that. But I would say, you know, almost all the guys in New York, almost everybody that was collecting records was collecting breaks. So those were all my influences, like, you know, Juju and Salam, and there's so many to count. You know what I mean?
So I mean, I know I've heard the story a couple times. I heard Large Pro say it, but you know, he likes to tell about how you kind of put him on a mission and found that third guitar record, Baby Don't
Hmm.
or Baby Don't Cry, and
I had
I mean, but
the way I met Large Professor was I was in the Air Force with his friend Terry Lewis, and he kept talking about this guy called Large Professor, and I was like, Large Professor, you know, and I was like, I'm used to guys having a name like my name was Lenny Land or whatever, and you know whatever, you know, like you be Drew, and Sammy, or Sammy Sam or something like that, but Large Professor, I was like, man, he sounded like an egghead, right? So he introduced me to this guy, and the first time I remember meeting Large, we were talking about records. He asked me if I ever heard this record. And he was amazed that I had these records, right? And I said, have you ever heard this and that and the third? And I gave him a cassette tape. And I wrote down a lot of titles. And I said, here's the titles of all these joints on here. And here's a list of stores where you can go get them from.
mhm.
And the rest is history. He went to these places and was catching stuff.
Can you think of? I mean, I thought that was an amazing story. And
Mhm.
he's been the one to tell it a couple times too. You think of any other times where you introduced somebody to a record and they made something dope out of it that you noticed? You know, so
Uh, uh, like I said, I've sold records to people,
yeah,
and
that qualifies to me if they didn't know it. You know,
yeah, they didn't know it, but I can't mention titles
yeah,
of tracks that they probably used them on, you
yeah,
know, because that would be kind of like giving away the sauce too, you know what I mean, the snitching. But
yeah.
I did give guys records. I did put a lot of people down on records, and put took them to record stores that were like pretty much unknown. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
out of the way. You know,
Who
Juju,
found
Vic,
who found the
huh?
Bob Azam record first? Who found the Bob Azam record first?
Oh, that was all Buck Wild. He's the one that I know put that out first.
Somebody, I read a story back then. I'm sure it's hearsay, but somebody was saying he was buying up all the copies he would see, so nobody else would use the drawings or something.
I, I've heard that story too.
Yeah,
Now I know some guys that will buy records and buy all the copies to hold them away. You know what I mean? Or also it drives the price up too. But I don't do that. If I find a copy of a record and then I can find another copy, I'll sell the second copy. You know, and if I find a third copy, I'll sell that one too. You know what I mean? I don't want to hoard. I don't need 10 copies of one record because then you start looking like a record store with overstock underneath your shelf. You know what I mean?
yeah. So since you were
I got,
around for more or less the Genesis, um, with breakbeats, everything from the disco days before it was hip hop. Which I was going to ask you about that too, but you know, up until now, when did you really notice the break beats and the soul and funk records and things really start to take off and get away from, you know, being able to buy copies for $8 at Downtown Records until where everything's at now?
Yeah, it was pretty much like in junior high school. Like when I first met up with Craig, it was like 73, 74. I just, like I said, I noticed these guys breakdancing. I didn't know what it was called then. It just looked like they was like, you know, they had the, the basic step, that, and going down the floor and, helicopters. I didn't know what those moves were called. It just, and that's when I noticed something was different about the records because they were playing. They would listen to the record, like Just Begun, right? You dancing slightly through it, you know what I mean? But then when the the timbali break come in, that's when they went down. Nobody called it the get down, and I never heard anybody call it the break either. It was just the dark part of the record. That's what I would say, the dark part of the record. The meat part of the record. And then when I went to my first party outside, I noticed that Disco King Mario, was cutting up two of the same records. He was doing with Good Times, Scorpio. It wasn't the Zigga Zigga yet. Nobody started doing the Transformer. It was just like keeping that blend going of the break, or like I said, we wasn't calling it the break. It was just calling it, because nobody called it breaks, from what I remember. It was just B-boy records, for lack of a better term. Because I don't remember ever hearing the word break until later on when somebody coined that phrase as breaks, from my recollection. I could be wrong, but I don't remember him calling breaks. We never called them breaks.
Sure.
We wanted to add one more person to the group chat here. We got Craig in the house.
Uh-oh.
Surprise guest.
Ah! Mr. C, what's up?
What's going on, buddy?
What's up, Craig? That's my lifelong brother right there.
Yep.
Seventh grade, right, Craig, or eighth grade, or whatever.
Almost 50 years. Almost 50
years.
Yeah,
almost 50 years.
Yep. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
On music when you first met, or how did y'all get to become such good friends?
Yeah. We're
Tell him, Craig.
What's Craig's side? What's Craig's side?
We were in 8th grade, and this guy was acting crazy. He was in the classroom throwing stuff. Him and the other guys. I said, "Oh God, get me out of here! Get me out of here!" Because I just moved around the area on Bruckner Boulevard, and I was like, "Man, I got to get out of here." And I looked at these guys. And I'm like,
But we went to art and design together, right? Because we went to music and art. I mean, we applied for some high schools, right? Yeah. And we went to music and art together to apply. Because I remember we both went there with our drawings, and we both got accepted in art and design. Yeah. And I remember I would wait for you at the train at Bruckner Boulevard.
Yeah. And we Rochester. Yep.
In the cold.
Yes. But it was good.
And then
it was good. We've been friends for that long, man. It's just been it's been great. It's really been great. And you talk about knowing somebody for 50 years, man. Almost 50 years. I mean, that's a long time. You guys weren't even born. Y'all weren't even thought of. But that's
remember Lenny? Remember the stories with Lenny?
Love him to death. Yep. Oh, I didn't hear what you said, Lenny. Huh?
I said, remember, because they wanted to know how we met Breakbeat Lenny, and I told them I met him first, and then you met him,
Yeah, that was.
But we would go over to. Go ahead.
Because Lenny introduced me to Breakbeat Lenny, and what happened is that when he took me over there, he said, "Hey, man," he said, "This is my buddy Craig and stuff." We started talking, and we hit it off. We really hit it off. So we had a nice time, and then I started going over there by myself. And Lenny didn't let anyone come into his store.
I told him that. I told him that.
That wasn't happening because it wasn't open to the public. So
right.
So when you went over there, he had it up from the floor. The blinds was up probably 6 or 7 inches, just enough so he could see your feet. And when he saw, if he didn't recognize the shoes you had on your feet, you wasn't kidding, man. If you kept knocking, he said, "Who is it? Who is it?" You know, and then they would say who they were if they were making a delivery or something. But I mean, Biz used to come by there sometime. Biz,
Right. I forgot that. Yeah, Biz. Break. Break. Danny Beatman.
Yeah.
Beatman used to come by there too.
Yeah, Danny Dan. Yep. So it was you know, Lenny was a good dude, man. Really good dude. And we had a lot of fun. He had a lot of music, man. A lot.
Craig, Len said he didn't have a lot to buy up a lot of records from Breakbeat Lenny. Did you manage to save some more money, or were you able to buy some doubles?
Listen, I did. As a matter of fact, that's how I started getting into selling.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, what Lenny did is that he used to go out to the West Coast. Well, not the West Coast, Midwest. And he would go out there like once a year. I remember him telling me about going on the pallets, going up there, climbing up Dusty and stuff. And he asked me if I wanted to go one time, but I would have had to take vacation. And I was like, manual labor like that. I said, I don't know about that.
You wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah. And Lenny went there. He would have the boxes of records sent back, and I started buying the records off of him and selling it to other people. I mean,
you want to tell him that story that you did one time?
That James Brown one?
Yeah.
Craig, oh man.
Craig's early Lenny Brickby sold him a record, and Craig took it downtown and sold it to another guy at Strider's Records. And yeah, and then we happened to go with Lenny a few weeks later down there or something like that.
Yeah,
and we was riding with Lenny with his deliveries, and the guy showed Lenny the record, and he said, "Yeah, I got this from one of your." He didn't say one of your friends because he didn't know we was with Lenny at the time. Right, and he said, "Go ahead, finish it."
He said, "Look what I got! I got this guy came by and dropped this record off me. He did a trade, and I was standing on one side of Lenny, and Len was standing on the other side, and the guy looked, and then he looked twice. He said, "Oh, this is the guy right here." Lenny looked at me like this and said, "I'll never what." I have plenty of these. Now I'll never sell you another record again, ever. I mean,
Breakbeat Lenny did not like that. He didn't like for you to buy a record from him and then sell it or whatever. No, that was a no. But he forgave Craig.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have forgave him though, but he forgave you.
Yeah, Buzz. But
it sounded like he definitely took ownership of like if he put his stamp on something, or you know if it was his stuff, like he sounded like there was definitely a little secrecy or a little bit of like I don't know, people took pride in what they did for sure.
Well, yeah, but you know what, Sam? What Lenny would do, especially if he's selling, and we do it now because Lenny and I do it now. What he used to do is that if you're a friend of his and he sold you a record, he's selling it to you for the most part. In that case, for me to have. Right. I wasn't into selling at that time. Now,
not no resale.
Right.
Sell something, then that's different. He says, "Hey, you know how many you want? You know, he said, this is my price. You know, you can mark it. I mean, he used to tell me all kinds of things, but he didn't mind me selling certain records. But if it was records that he thought that I was keeping, he's giving me a good break. So now he took that record and turned it around. He felt, you know, that was like a betrayal. It's like, man, I gave you a good price. You know, now you went ahead and, you know, you took the record and went somewhere else with it and, you know, got something else. So he didn't like that. So he hated me for about a minute and a half.
What was the James Brown record?
Sex Machine with the one with all the women making the letters.
Yep. And he's jumping up like that. Came out 75. And I traded for a Nightlighters record, which was it was because Nightlighters was, oh my goodness, they're funky. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was the one with the Buck and the Preacher theme. It's the yellow one. I can't even think of the name of that one. It was their second or third album. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I traded for because I was like the Nightlighters, man. Can't nobody touch them. Yeah. But Len, you told him about the about the show, the Roosevelt show, and everything?
Oh yeah, we went in there a little bit. Yeah, we went in there about how people would camp out overnight and all like that. And
Yeah,
you started selling there after a while too, though. I
I
remember that
suppose
with
it was the first show.
Breakbeat Lenny. Yeah, he got you to sell
It
in
was the
there.
first show because the guy that was doing it was Dexter Campbell, and I wish somehow someone could find him because we were talking about
Hmm.
that with Tony. Gary up in Connecticut, and Tony from Philly and stuff. We were all on the phone, and Big George. And we were talking about this, and was trying to see if there was a way, anybody could get in touch with Dexter. But Dexter Campbell was the one that spearheaded that. And when
Put on
Dexter,
the Roosevelt. Yeah.
yeah, because it was you, me, and Lenny. We went to a record show in New York, someplace in Midtown, and this guy came up, and it turned out to be Dexter, and he said he was putting on a record show in New York. It's going to be mainly a soul show and everything. So
Right.
already it was like, bing, okay, hey, a no brainer. And then what
And
happened is he got the information, and at that time, there's no cell phones. There's really not much of
no
internet.
computers, no
Right,
nothing.
right,
Yeah.
right. So,
But somehow the word got out, though. The word got
yeah,
out because
oh yeah,
I remember everybody was there.
yeah,
Finesse,
yep,
Buck, Diamond, Q-Tip,
yep,
Pete, all of them was there. Large, Juju, everybody was there. Rashad, everybody was there.
yep,
Everybody was there.
yep. I mean, you had PM Dawn, you had Poor Righteous
He
Teachers.
used to be,
Yeah,
yeah. PM Dawn used to come there and walk out with a daggone Samsonite bag on a like a carry-on luggage
yeah.
type thing, full of
Well, he
records,
didn't
bro.
carry it. The guy that was with him carried. I
It
think
was
he had
with him carried, yeah,
they would carry that
yeah.
stuff. He'd be like, I want this. I'll take that. I'll take that. Really
No,
soft.
the dude had the stack already for him. He
Yeah,
just bought it
yeah.
on sight unseen or unheard. He just
I
buy
got
it.
something for you.
Yeah, I've heard that other people mentioned. I think Kid Capri was talking about that, about the same exact thing with Prince B from PM Dawn. Just it makes,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
he did end up producing later on under a different name.
Oh yeah, and then I think his collection got sold too, right?
What happened with the collection?
I think it was being auctioned. I'm saying about 2 years ago or something like that. There was a few pieces. There was some auction that I got an invite on, or not an invite on. It was just on. I think it was on Instagram. There was like, and you click on it, but you had to sign on to this app, and it was like a special auction that was going to happen for a few of the pieces. It was like some really good stuff that they was going for some really high dollars up there.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford it.
Len said he would kind of sell like a crate on the side. Were you okay with that, or was there like a deal worked out? I think at the Roosevelt.
He ain't ever created records at the Roosevelt.
Not at the Roosevelt. I said at 57th Street.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, 57th Street. Yeah, at the Roosevelt, he ain't have. He was busy running around with Buck Wild and them, and he was. I mean, he was like a ricocheting off the walls, man. It was like boom, here you go. I seen the Lou. I seen Lou. Boom. He was just running all over the place trying to find something and trying to listen to some music and talk to the guys, man. He ain't had no time for me, y'all. He ain't had no time for me at all.
You seen him at the record stores, Craig. That's how he still is. He's like a ping pong phone.
Yeah, I think I made a suggestion last time.
He never stays in one place.
What'd you say, Drew?
I was thinking last time, I think at the record show, I was like, they need to hire Len as like a consultant to just go around and like help, promote sales at each booth, basically like highlight,
I do that though. I'll be like, get this, get that.
That should be a safe position.
Yeah. Sometimes I get a discount when I buy something. They'll be like, since you got me these $500 worth of records, to sell $500 record, I'll let you get this, $20, $30 off. Craig ain't never did that for me though, but that's all right.
Yeah, he actually we brought that up at the crate show. The Quinn was throwing. The guy Jeff, mostly records from Pittsburgh, was there, and he had a lot of good like more obscure jazz and like library records and some import stuff and all. And he was pulling stuff out. He's like, you need this. He's like, yo, get this. He's like, somebody be looking at, oh, you need to buy that. That's what we said. It's like, you need to Jeff needs to put you on the payroll because he's gonna have no records left. If you're standing there, you're gonna sell everything for him because he
did take care of me when I DM'd him on a couple of records. later on, he sold me some good pieces on the strength of that, on the strength of that whole situation right there. So I'm grateful to that. Craig's discount is like, yeah, I say, hey, lifelong brother discount. How much is that? He'd be like, it was five. It was let's say it was $100. He'd be like, for you 95. I'm like, come on, man. That's no discount.
Craig knows you can't just find those records anymore, man. You know, you gotta you can't just give them away.
He be having 3 copies of something to him. But once in a while, he will. Once in a while, yeah. I'm sorry, Craig. I didn't mean to let out the secret.
I can't deny. That's why I'm laughing. I'm not saying anything because it's true. I'll have several copies. He'd be like, "Man, you got 3 or 4 copies of this. Why can't I get one? Come on." But Lenny, I can't find this, man. I said, I don't want to really sell it to you for that, man. I can't. It hurts. You know, I can't do that. Come on, you're my brother.
Craig's got some nice records for sure. He's definitely got a library of nice records.
Craig, we heard how Len kind of ended up moving down to Virginia. How about you? What brought you down?
I was a single parent, so it was time to leave New York. It really was. And I came down. My daughter was almost 2 at that time. And my mother came down. My mother was here, my brother, grandmother, they had moved down. And it was like, you know, they had been down here a couple of years. And when I came down, it was like late 92, October of 92. And it was like, it's time to leave the city. And I came down to visit before with one of my uncles, my late uncle, Curtis. And I knew it was something nice because he was like, look, I'm going down, to see Shirley, which was his sister, my mother. And you want to come? I said, well, yeah, I'll come down there. I came down and I kind of liked it. And then when I said, hey, I'm going to go down there again, he said, when? I'm going to go with you. My uncle did not take vacation like that, but he did to come down to Richmond. So after maybe about a couple of years, then it was like, okay, my daughter was born. It's like, hey, listen, it's time to leave. So I moved down here. We've always been on the South Side, and it's been nice. It's been really nice. Met some good people.
Good to know. All right, that's why I never find anything in South Side. Okay.
Yeah. What was it?
Better luck going out of town.
What was it about New York that made you? Was it just rising costs out there? Like
it was time, Sam. It was time, Sam. It really was because I was tired of it. And then to bring up a child in that kind of environment. And Lenny will tell you, I mean, the things that we endured or had to go through as kids, man. You don't want your kids to go through that.
And New York is worse now. It's fast paced. After the I'm so glad I did not spend, the pandemic up in New York. Even though my mom and my sisters did, but by the grace of God, they're still alive and everything like that. So, but it was time to get out of New York. In fact, Craig came first to New York, and I happened to meet Craig in Virginia at a record store.
Yeah,
we were on opposite sides of a bin looking in records because I was with my wife. She wasn't my wife at the time, but I parked the car, and I remember it was hot as hell. We didn't have no AC. We drove the car down here.
West Broad Street.
Yeah, on West Broad. Who was that? Who was that? Memory Lane, right?
Memory Lane when it was on
Memory Lane, yeah, when it was on West Broad. Yeah. And I looked up and I see Craig, and I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he's like, "What in the world?" So we linked up that time. I hadn't seen him in over maybe 5 years or so like that. Yeah. And then he told me he was down here, living down there. I said, "Man, we about to move down here too." Yeah. And that's how we met again.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Do you guys run into each other at record shows or stores now? Or
playing 9. It seems like
playing 9.
I'm playing 9. But also when we did, you guys just said something before when you talked about the guy from Pittsburgh and saying you should have this and that. What we did is when we started doing a record show here in Virginia, there were 2 things that we knew we had to do. One was to play the music so you can hear it, and then people would come over and say, "Hey, I want that. What's that song?" And no one had ever done that at a record show. They didn't do that at the radio
Except
show.
for New York. Except for
Right.
New York. They did it up in New York. Yeah.
Do that. And then have the DJ. Because when we first came
Right.
down here, there was no DJ at a show. It was like you go to a show, you'll hear somebody's transistor radio or something, or some. And it's like, no. We got to do a little something different than this, a
Right.
little better than this. And then that's what happened. So we came down and did that. And it took off. People would come up to the table. Hey, what was that? Oh, this person's buying it. What? You have another copy? You have another copy of this? And it's a great way. It's a great selling tool. Great selling.
That's how I got to sell my little crate too, because I'll be pulling out my records and play that stuff and be like, playing the breaks or whatever, and people would just love that.
I remember that at the Standstill show though. It was at was it the hotel on Broad Street, and then later on it was
on Broad Street. Yep.
Further down or further north.
On the
I remember at those shows, man, definitely you had like the little corner with people like, hey, put this on, and then like sometimes you'd have like somebody like Jaws or somebody just DJing. But
we had Drew doing it too.
Yeah,
Mordecai was here spinning. What are you talking about? He did like 3 or 4 of them joints. Him, Hip Hop Henry, Area Woman, CC, Cliff Lawson would be mixing. Yeah, we had a few of them.
And each one of you had your niche. You all had your niche.
Each one of you, yeah, exactly.
It was great, and it was a nice flow to it. Everything. And I appreciate it, Drew. I appreciate it, buddy.
I'm hoping one day.
Hey, look, we fed our vendors too. We fed our vendors.
I just want the money to go back into the DJ setup. I want the turntables to be like.
It's easy to forget. Drew is pretty deep in the game, though. I mean, he's been through all kinds of stuff. What about like 20 years? You've been holding it down.
Something like that.
I heard about stories about you. That you're pretty nice on the tables, man. But you know what? Drew used to give me like a handful of records at Plan 9 when I would see him in my early days of going to Plan 9. He'd be like, "Hey, they don't want to buy these. You want these?" And I take them home, and there'll be some good stuff in there. He don't do that anymore, though, right? Do you still do that?
He got a family to feed, man. He finds
30 people. He probably does it for.
I'm out of LPs and 12 inches mostly now. I just have a couple things, but it's mostly 45s.
Right.
Because they're small.
Right.
Easier to see in the house.
I hear what you're saying right there. I remember the last time I saw you was over at Vinyl Conflict, man, when they got that huge reggae 45 collection in there. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You had your 2 boys with you?
Yep. I was excited because I felt like I was one of the first ones to get there, and Lenny was already there.
Greg had already left.
Nah, you know who the early bird is? That dude up in the corner right there, Amazon Prime, bro. He be going flea market at 5:30 in the morning.
I got a long ways to go before I can like reach the early diggings that you guys have been through. I mean, I probably missed the glory days, but if there's something out there, I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, we know you'll find it.
Well, yeah, keep fire burning,
Usually I go around someplace, they said Sam was already here. What? Yeah.
Hey, he's not up on everything though.
Greg told me the other day ago, he said Sam, he has the Midas touch because he touches everything in here. That's what he told me. I was like, I could believe that. He touches everything in there.
That's one thing I've learned is that the places you would least expect it. Some of the records that I've been shown, I'm like, I would never look twice at this record, but I know better now. So man, I look at everything, and I still don't find it.
You started out selling hip hop records and stuff. I remember that because I remember I would say, "What's up to you and Bryce?" But then I would always like step off right after that, right? Because I was like, he ain't got no breaks, he ain't got no funk in there, no soul, whatever. But
where is Bryce? Because I haven't seen Bryce in a long time. Where is he?
He was on here a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. The man's been busy, man. He's got his hands in a lot of stuff. But he's around. He'll make an appearance for about 5 minutes about everywhere.
Yeah.
And then he keeps it moving. Yeah.
He's got 2 radio shows, and he's done a bunch of interviews too, so he's staying busy too.
And one of the nicest people you ever meet, bro.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got one on WRIR like Sam, and then he's got one on VPM, the Chill Factor.
Yeah.
Both dope. Recommended.
Okay. right, that's good. That's good. That's real good.
Shouts out to B Rice, newly married.
Shouts out to B Rice.
Yeah, he's the
and
man.
all the guests on this panel.
Hey, Lenny and Craig, like when you guys were here early 90s, like what were the record shops that y'all were going to? Was it Plan 9 or Willie's or Carrington's or
definitely Carrington's.
Peaches?
Okay, when we say early
Peaches.
90s, like you're talking about like when? Because
you said you moved down here in 92, right? And it sounded like
moved down
Len
here
was
in
around the
late
same
92.
time.
But
So around that time?
But I came down here on a visit too, though.
Yeah,
because
I used to had the 45s. They had some great 45s.
Yeah.
So did Carrington too.
Yeah, we hit Carrington. That was nice. He was a character. But that I'm trying to think. What was the other record stores? Oh, Plan 9 was. Yeah, Plan
9 definitely was their first location.
Yeah, and they had the
downstairs. When they had the downstairs, yeah.
Ooh.
With the cockroaches and the dollar albums, but it was the Waterbug hit.
Yeah.
That's when Jay and all of them still worked there. Jay and Marty and all of them still worked there. Jay, Drew, Marty, all of them were still working there.
Yeah.
There's at least one clip on YouTube of Plan 9 when the basement was like sort of still there.
Mm-hmm.
This guy
really.
Oh man, I'm having a hard time thinking of his name now. But he did a bunch of record store tours, and he's got a good clip where he goes down there and there's like a bunch of boxes of 45s, and I don't know if there's guys Lenny that worked there, but he said he's like, oh yeah, Lenny's already been through these. He's got his mark on them and stuff like that.
Hey, look, when I was still living in New York and I was moving, and I hadn't yet thought about moving down here. I came down here in the '80s too, right? When 95 had the toll booths, and I remember staying in a hotel on Broad Street or somewhere close there. And I remember somebody telling me when they was going into towns, they would look in the phone book because there was no internet and stuff like that, and they would rip out the pages of record stores. Yeah. And I remember looking in that joint, I was like, "Yo, the pages are already ripped out in Richmond, bro." I don't want to say who that person was, but he's on the West Coast now. Yeah, but he should do that stuff, man. But and then plus we went out to Williamsburg too. There was some places out in Williamsburg. What was that joint on Mercury Boulevard?
What was the name?
American Oldies, yeah.
Yeah, Newport News. And
back in the '80s, they had a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff. Richmond was good. Richmond was good for Virginia, and as a whole was nice for some. They had a lot more record stores at the time.
Yeah.
You know.
Have y'all ever thought about opening a shop, like a store?
We talked about that, Craig. But I was like, whose records good? Who's going to sell their records?
Still gripping them.
That's come up. Quite a bit.
Talk to me when I'm 90, when I can't even hear anymore. And I was thinking about.
Yeah, man's not gonna have
because I don't know if you know this before, Drew, but I did sell all my records at one time down to a crate, right, Craig?
Hmm? I
sold a lot of my records to Gene Brown and a lot of other people. I sold them down to a crate. Yeah. And just like smoking cigarettes, man, when you get back on it again, you go back harder.
Yep. Couldn't get some of those records back.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't get a lot of that stuff. I couldn't get back, man. Because I didn't think about it. Nobody saw this day coming when records would be the way they are.
Right.
Nobody saw this. I mean, during the Roosevelt days, we had Japanese guys there and French dudes and British dudes there, but nobody thought they was taking these records and were gonna remaster them and sell them back to us, But now it's a business. It's a business, man. It's not even enjoyable anymore.
Yeah, they were there. They used to get there early in the morning, wait, like you said, stay there overnight. And as soon as it was time to open the doors, they would shoot in there. They'd be there all day and it'd be crowded. But I mean, things like when you talk about some of the 45s, like synthetic substitutions, used to get that at Downstairs Records. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was like, hey, he had plenty of them.
Rob Boogie was spitting people off with those things.
Yeah, Catch a Groove 12-inch. I mean, it was like, I mean, all this stuff was just there. It was plentiful. Willie Dynamites, 49 cent or 99 cent boxes of them in the train station, on the train station. I mean, it was.
Yeah, there was record stores in the train station. You remember that?
Yep.
They had about 30 copies of Eddie Drennan, that Eddie Drennan album. They were sealed 99 cents. Yep. I remember that.
The Layla album we saw at not at Footlight Records. It was
it was the Pyramid Records. Pyramid Records.
So it was like $7, man.
It was the Pyramid, the Layla, the Bernard Purdy soundtrack that he did, a pornographic soundtrack. So he looked at it one day, he went there. I looked at it one day, I went there, and I'm the one that wound up picking it up, but I sold that thing. And that record goes for like $3,000 now. It's a horrible album, man. It's horrible. Horrible. But it's because it's a Bernard Purdy produced.
Demon Fuzz too. We found copies of that, and it was like, oh, this would be great. Played is like, this sucks. Oh my goodness.
I don't know, man. A lot of people love that.
Nah, that Demon Fuzz, I liked it when I first heard it. You didn't like it, Craig.
Yeah,
I liked it when I first heard it.
One cut, and it was like, but
that was 99 cents at Princeton Record Exchange when they had all the records. That's how I found that Stainless Soul down there. I found the Dress Is Too Short with Sil Johnson. You found a Willie Dynamite one week. I was pissed at you, and then the next week I found one.
About the the Couch Jam. But that was You told them about that.
They had.
We went there that night after work. Did you tell them about that night?
Oh, we had 30 minutes. We had 30 minutes. He said we're closing in 30 minutes, and we said, how many records can you go through, Craig? And he said, I don't know. Let's see.
In a minute. And it
wasn't a minute. It was like 15 minutes. But we did it. Well, we did it.
Yep. And we zipped through that stuff. I mean, that was something. Because we came from New York in Manhattan, got off from work, got in the car, boom, got there. Lenny got
and you remember there was traffic on the turnpike. So you remember that's what stopped us from getting there on time, though. Yeah, but we got there, and he was like, we're closing in 30 minutes. We was like, that's okay. Because what happened was we went there the week before, and we picked up a stack that was probably off the floor this high, and we didn't buy everything. And we said, can we hold these? We're going to come back. They put all that shit back. Excuse my French. They put it all back. And next week we went back there, and pretty much a lot of it was still together, like when they was putting it all back, and we was able to get most of the stuff back that way.
Yeah.
I had to borrow money from Craig too, because Craig had more money than I did.
That was when I got a little taste of selling also. Because remember, I used to pick up records for people, and they would say, hey, can you get this for me, Craig? Can you get this? And I'd be like, yeah, how much are you willing to pay for it? And what I found
he had a business going.
I can say this now. What I used to do is if someone said, hey, I'm looking for this record, and the most I'll pay for it is $20 or $30.
That's what you're gonna put on it.
They would give me about 4 or 5 records they wanted. So I have the list, and I get a couple of people. So I'd end up going, and when we went to Princeton Record Exchange, I would go in there, and then I'm like, okay, this is how much they said they'll pay. But I would never let it go to the limit. So if someone said that they would pay $30 for this record, and I'm getting it for $9 or $7, I might say, if it's real hard to get, $19.99 it cost me, as opposed to the $30. Occasionally,
because we had to put in travel time and all that gas, lunch. We had to have lunch. You know what I mean? You're going to hell for that, Craig.
No, because and look, we went to art and design, so was an artist. You can change the price of a record. You can fudge that.
What? Change a 3 to an 8? How hard is that?
It wasn't hard. Got the same color pen, everything. So when I gave them the record back, when I said, "Hey, this is what it cost me," and it might have been one of those 99-cent records. I had in there $4.99 because my 4 matched the 99 cents, and here you go, or something like that. Now it doesn't seem like much money now.
We even bought stickers. We even bought stickers.
Nah.
For the certain store.
Got quite the gems.
Nope.
I was thinking we were
Nope.
getting to get
Hey,
out of
man.
this
Bleep
interview.
that
Hey,
out.
hey, statute of limitations is up. I don't think you guys are going to prison though.
That
So
doesn't matter. Bleep
yeah,
that
well,
out.
hey, if
You're
they
supposed to die
if
with
they,
that, Lenny. You, with that
hey, if they name
information.
the price though, and you come in under the price, I don't see how you're a bad guy though.
Well, true. You know, it just, we think about it now. It was so funny, and we talk about it now. It was so funny, but you help people out. They got certain records, and they
Guys are
help
ripping people off more. Yeah. Guys are there's a new kind of rip off now, bro. They
yeah,
ripping people off on
yeah,
buying off of Discogs and eBay. You get ripped off
yeah,
twice as much.
yeah,
Plus
yeah.
you gotta pay a tax to get ripped off from Virginia, bro.
Yeah,
Well, you paying the tax from most of those states, but what's ridiculous, what's crazy
True,
is that
true.
people started bragging about how much they made on eBay. And that was the dumbest thing for someone to do. You don't do that. You don't tell and start blabbing out on the internet, hey, I made $50,000 working part-time selling records last year. No one needs to do that except you and your small circle of friends. No one on the internet needs to know that. And then it got out. And my I don't have any proof on this, but then I said, watch what's going to happen. They're going to start getting taxed on this. The government's going to find out. They're going to get taxed on this. Sure enough, here we go. There you go, Giants. Here you go. Then they started talking about they're gonna tax this and tax that. And I'm like, there you go. It's bound to happen because people are opening their mouths too much. All you had to do is be quiet. Let it flow, be quiet, don't say anything, you're good to go. But people couldn't do that. So this I believe is the result. Yeah.
What like motivates and inspires you guys to keep digging and selling and keep going?
I'm gonna dig till I die.
Mhm.
It's my passion. It's
Unless
not.
it's on the
It's
floor,
not that
he
it's a
can't
hobby.
get down anymore. Unless it's on the floor,
Oh,
he can't get down anymore.
oh,
He can't go on his knees
the
anymore.
records down on the lower shelves. Them are the joints I put down there. Like I don't really want to go down there because I be creaking and cracking now, bro. Oh my god, everything's gonna have to be at chest height, man, for me now, bro. Jeez.
That's where I
But
come
I
in.
keep digging until I keep digging until I die.
Yeah, it's just
You can have them when I'm gone. I don't need them. You can have them.
yeah, the vinyl. It's just the album covers.
you talking to me?
The vinyl, huh?
Oh, he was talking. He said something to me. He said,
All of you.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, but the vinyl, the album covers. I mean, it's just that's a great thing, and it's nothing like that. So as far as digging, I always get excited about it. I mean, it was so bad at times. You talking about when we used to go down to the village down at St. Mark Sounds? Oh man, St. Mark Sounds. Lenny and I were together, and we'd be going down there. He said, man, I just got to go down there. I said, because those records be calling me, man. They just calling me. I can hear them. They just
On a work night. Yo, what you doing, man? Like I ain't got to get up till like 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 in the morning. You want to ride down to St. Mark's? And we hit them. They had the Jazz Record Center. That's where they had the Weldon Irvins and all that stuff, man. I mean, it's like dirt cheap, bro. Like nobody knew what these records were. I never heard of Weldon Irvin. I was like, this looks good right here.
They
Was
had all
buying that stuff, man.
Yeah. Sun
But
Ra stuff. I mean, hey.
Yep.
Yeah, we talking about
Disco 12 inches, like from overseas. But to say, I'll just dig until I can't dig anymore. Or if I go deaf or something like that, or whatever. It's like it's a passion. It's a lifelong pursuit of buying records.
There's not a lot of things like it, as far as like the unknown and actually being able to to discover something. I mean, there's not a lot of things like that in life anymore. Everything's kind of exploited, and to be able to go somewhere and not know what to expect, and maybe you get surprised. Right. I mean, that's kind of unusual.
Always a rock to turn over. There's always a rock to turn over. Like you think you heard everything. No, you haven't. I mean, any one of you guys to play something for me, I'll be like, what the hell is that?
Right.
Sam does it to me all the time. He sends me a text or whatever, and don't tell me the title of it. His videos are dark as hell, bro. Like they're from the dark side. He just
but if you already got it, I'll show it to you. If you want to know what it is.
And Sam, that's the thing. Some of the guys have played music, and Henry did this one time, Hip Hop Henry, and played the record. I'm like, what's that? And when they told me, I said, wait a minute, I have that.
Right.
I had no idea because I didn't play that cut.
Right.
And I'm like, oh man, and it happens so much, But as we
That's
get
how I
older,
lost out on a lot of music too. Yeah.
hey, yeah. I mean, man, but it's all good as long as people can, looking to hear the music, can appreciate the music, man. That's all good. It's all good. The record stores and the record shows. Hey, just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Hey, I will say this during the pandemic when everybody was locked down and they couldn't go nowhere. This was a saving grace for me right here, though, because this is what I fell back on. People, you could watch Netflix for so long and whatever, you know what I mean? You could be on social media, but for so long. But if you got an outlet, and I'm not saying this is the only outlet, but this was the outlet for me to come back and it's like, you know what?
Right.
I can start listening to these records again, digging my own crates.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there was a time I was scared to get records off of eBay. I was like, I don't know.
Right.
Record come in the mail. I was like, yo, that joint gonna have to sit outside for a few days and spray it down or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know, until, we got a better understanding what was going on. It was like, okay, come on, calm down. You know what I'm saying? Wash your hands or whatever they told you to do. You know what I'm saying? This was my outlet right here. This is what kept me going to playing these records here.
Yeah.
My dad used to be like that with books. The way we all got records lined up on our walls. My dad had, all the major rooms not all the major rooms in the house, but I mean, he had bookshelves.
Pretty much the major rules, right?
and then I think about it, and it's like, man, that's like, literature is fantastic and everything, but you can't just pull a book out and just like read a part of it, put it back. Whereas like at any time, like we can pull a record out and be like, I don't remember what this sounded like. And you put it down and like, oh yeah, it's like you rediscover things, and that's like something that just having a music collection is fantastic for. I think, man, if if I'm sometimes you already got your own outlet there, like when you're ready for it,
Right.
Yeah.
And just listen to some good things that you haven't heard in a while. I'm sorry, what you saying there, Mordecai?
No, you're good. Ray Morrell posted a comment, said peace and blessings, manners and respect to all in the chat. He says, Len, thanks for playing so much heat that I never heard on your IG.
You're welcome, fam. Thank you.
Tell people about the IG content.
Oh man, so what started out was, I guess 5 years ago, I got on IG, didn't know what it was about. I just thought it was like another extension of Facebook. But then I saw people actually playing videos and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I got some stuff, The only time people can hear my stuff is like if they come to the house or whatever like that, which doesn't happen all the time because I only let a few select people come in and they know who they are. Gentlemen right here on the screen right here and a few others. But then, so I would play a few things, and then it got to the idea. I said, let me find 9 good things to play. So 5 years later, I'm still doing that. I haven't missed a Friday, even though it's coming out later, like late Friday, Saturday morning. But I haven't missed a week. Put it that way, for the last 5 years. To the tune of over 3,000 posts. You know what I'm saying?
Every week you're posting 9 video clips.
9 video clips. Some of them will get shown because the copyright police be like, oh, you can't play that. This thing is banned in this country. You gotta
fix it up.
That's what I do.
Down and the algorithm will catch
I've been doing that. I filter it too. I cut out one side, the guitars or something like that. But they still, they devious in the way they can catch you. You know what I mean? Or what happens most of the time, they'll stop it for a while, and then like 6 months down the road, they'll be like, now you can play the video. It's like, all right, I already moved past that. You know what I mean? But that's what I've been doing.
You want to buy the record, you would think it'd be promotion. Like people would be like,
yeah, I'm resurrecting these old bones, bro. People don't know what you are, And I've been told you should, huh?
I think that was the argument for Twitch and YouTube to allow that for DJs to kind of promote, other people's music and other people interested in checking it out, buying it, streaming it, etc. So go ahead.
I was asked to do that too. Somebody said, why don't you get a Twitch? And that sounds like too much damn gonna work, bro. I swear to God.
You're on it today. Yeah, you're on it today.
Well, I mean, I know this part right here, but you do it once a week, so or twice a week. I think I've seen a couple of yours you did on a Wednesday or something like that. But
Mhm.
to do it every week, and you got to do it, you got to give them some content. So it's got to be like at least 2 hours or something like that, or for me to just put out 9 records and just do that, that's a lot easier than trying to mix them and add some, superfluous stuff on it, like some ad libs and some, the stuff that goes on to a show,
Mhm.
and do your own call sign. You're listening to the Len Funk show, the Violator, to do that all the time.
You
I
just
mean,
did it. You
I guess
just
I could
record
do
that.
it, but I don't know, huh?
You just did the drop. Just record that. I'll send it to you. I'll just clip that and send it to you. Hey, Craig, when's the next Standstill Music show? You got one lined up or scheduled or planned?
I don't. Ever since don't have a venue.
Okay.
So right now, the best thing to do is to go to different states. Got a show set up in 2 weeks. Be in Atlanta at the show in Marietta. That Atlanta show, and
As a
then
promoter or a vendor?
as a vendor,
Right.
and then there's Austin show is in October, middle of October, Austin, Texas, and then after that in November is going to be a Philly show, big Philly show. So there'll be some other things sprinkled in there, but right now I'm enjoying going to the other states. You meet people, and it's been great. To be honest with you,
Can,
when
can
you talk
somebody buy out of your house?
I'll have stuff in storage. All right, they can come to storage. People can definitely hit me up. Send me an email. Say, hey, I'm looking for certain things, and I give you a good discount. I will. There's some things I
Better
have.
than me.
Maybe not as good as yours. No, maybe not freebies, but I got some stuff that I'm looking to move because I want to scale down some things. I got a lot of records, so I need to scale down.
Hypothetically, if Sam and I organized a record show, what would it take to get you to come out and sell?
Just ask.
Oh.
It wouldn't take much at all. I'd love to do
it. Are you guys planning on a record show?
Yeah.
Not officially or anything. It's just something that's been in my head recently. Just because we haven't had one in a while. So
yeah, I think it's always I don't know. Richmond's a pretty big record city. I feel like we have a lot of record stores, and there's a lot of people that are looking for a lot of the same stuff and different stuff. But I think there should be something. Yeah. But as Craig can attest, sometimes it's not that simple.
Well, it may be harder now. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll touch on this just a little bit. You guys it would be in a good position because I don't think there's any bad blood that you have with other people. With me, I don't know what has happened. Hey, you smiling, Drew, because I'm like, what the heck is going on here? But when have you guys heard about when we first put on the first show here? We were promoting the first show.
I heard a little.
I'm smiling because I don't understand why.
I've heard a little something.
Hey, the guy, I'll just say a local vendor.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And he decided to he was upset.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're coming into my territory. It's like, he didn't tell me that, but that's what he was telling other people.
Yeah.
And I made sure the show was like 2 months, between his show and our show.
Yeah.
The guy got upset, started bad mouthing me and bad mouthing the show and everything. It was crazy. Yeah. And then it got to the point, we still put the show on. When we put another date out, he changed his date to the same day on Broad Street. We were at the 3200 West Broad at the Comfort Inn. Up the street. No, he was at 3200 Comfort Inn. And then we were up the street at the Holiday Inn on Staples Mill. It was crazy. But my thing is, before, huh? I was saying, like,
no, that didn't stop us though, because we did 20-something years of record shows.
Right. We kept going.
Twice a year,
and having fun. And it's like, if you have a show coming up in Richmond, it's okay. That's great. We don't put it at the same time. We don't put it on at the same time and go for it. Just like when Marty and them did it. I was there. I was like, hey, this is great. If Record Riots, hey, that's great. You get a show here. Hey, I'll be there. It'll be fun. And that was always our thought. but not everyone thinks like that.
That person's not organizing shows anymore.
No,
Yeah.
no, they're not. But I see the person a lot. I do.
There hasn't been a show. There hasn't been a show in a while.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I was kind of heading that way with that question.
Yeah, I agree though, man. There needs to be
anything. It just hasn't been one in a while.
Yeah, we just need to keep it going, bro. Because
you get a good venue, man. Hey, that's the thing. But I would.
I'm pretty lazy, so I'm
gonna tell you one thing. The hotel venues are kind of dead, though, man. You know what I mean? It seems like everyone wants to have shows at breweries now.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
I heard too, not to drop any names, but the show that had been going on at the brewery, they wanted to continue that without the organizer, which I don't think was.
Oh, cut out the middleman, huh?
I don't think that went over very well though. I didn't think that was too cool though.
Well, yeah, and because they're looking at it and saying, hey, listen, from a standpoint, we may
cash cow
a particular person. Yeah, we may not need that person. We can do it ourselves. We can do it in house. And sometimes they think it's that easy, and then sometimes they don't understand that when you have when you're putting on a show, it takes more. It takes a lot. Not just getting the vendors. The venue has to be nice, but not just getting the venues, getting the patrons in there. And how are you going to get the patrons in there? You want to get DJs in there, and you want to, promote this a certain way. You want to have certain music in there, and it may be music that you don't normally see. There's a lot of things that go into promoting a show and putting on a record show, and sometimes people don't realize that.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. But if you guys look to put on the show, hey, I'll be there. I'll do it.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Well, Bobby was talking about. I was over at Vinyl Conflict yesterday, and Bobby was talking about a lot of the same things. Like really thinks there should be something. But I think I don't know. It's meant to happen. Something's going to happen.
Yeah. And they're great. And Vinyl Conflict is great. Bobby and them are great, with helping promote shows. Plan 9
too. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, they're great. Also, Jim in there, the owner, fantastic.
Yeah.
Doing that.
What you don't want to happen is you don't want an outsider to come in here and put a show on in here. That'd be bad. You know what I mean?
Well, see, they may think that about Record Riots.
Yeah.
And see, I don't.
To me, he's charging $15, bro.
I don't. To me, somebody wants to put on a show here, just as long as it's not the same day, go for it.
Don't make me buy a record before I get in the doors, though. I hate that.
I'll be honest.
Don't make me buy a record.
If there's records,
10 minutes to go. 10 minutes to go, right, Sam? He wouldn't let us go in.
Yeah.
Like he still wanted $15. Like, come on, man.
I looked at the line of people. I said, "Oh my God, they ain't paying to get in here yet." I said, because
nobody wants to spend $15 right off the bat.
Yeah.
Plus the internet. The internet there was terrible.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Nobody could use their their card swipes or nothing. Nobody.
The funny part was Jimmy had seen that there was a free wireless network at one of the venues nearby and didn't have a password or anything. And he got on it. He showed me. Had internet. I was like, man, if they had told the vendors, if they had even figured that out and told the vendors, it'd have gone so much smoother for them. Because like you said, they couldn't even do the Square reader. They couldn't even get credit card stuff to go through. So
no,
well, I did at my table, and it was right in the center of my two tables. It was an area right there. I was able to do it, and I couldn't believe it because everybody else was telling me they couldn't do it, and it was right in a certain area, right in between both tables. But then it went bad at about maybe 2:00 in the afternoon. It was like,
I want to shout out DJ Cruz One and Rob Boombastic for checking in on the comments. Sam, did you have any other questions for Craig and Len? We're running over a little bit, so I appreciate you staying on.
Yeah, we are.
I feel like I've been asking a lot of things. So I just think it's great to have you guys here talking about.
I am honored.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
I love hearing these stories. I love hearing these stories about things that I wasn't around to see, or things that you guys have experienced. It's all interesting to me.
Oh, hey, look, there's a lot more stories, especially about the Roosevelt. A lot more. But thank you, Drew. Really appreciate.
Thanks,
Really
And
appreciate.
and you surprised me with this special guest right here down there.
Yeah.
I didn't know my buddy was coming on there, my lifelong brother. Yeah. Wow. That was pretty crafty of you, Drew. That was pretty crafty.
And I didn't say nothing.
I knew Sam was coming on. I was like, yeah, Sam gonna help it along. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, shit, I don't have an hour of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I do, but I have to drop names, and I don't want to do that. But yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. We got the ologist coming up on Saturday. Gonna be talking to him, and got
Thank you for listening.
Fro Organics on July 27th and August 3rd, Joe Run Bombay. So a bunch more coming up. Appreciate y'all coming on.
We appreciate the work you're doing, bro.
Love to do a part 2 talking about more Roosevelt stories, and
got plenty of them, and I do keep in touch with a lot of the guys too, especially Big George and them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, plenty of them.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, y'all have a good day. Peace.
Okay. All right, you too. All right.
Peace, brother. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Peace.
Be good.
All right.